Welcome to the Sound of Movement podcast. Today we are talking assessments. Do you need them? Are they necessary before starting your exercise program? Assessments are something that are definitely valuable, but how essential are they? We're going to go deep on this one. Welcome to the show, everyone. It's time to rock. If you're new to the tribe, Rich is behind the mix. Phil's at the table with me, and my name is Rad Burmeister, and we are Unity Gym experts at turning driven people into athletes. Today's episode is brought to you by our revolutionary Unify Movement System, the only online program effectively balancing strength, flexibility, and fitness so you can unleash your inner athlete. Get daily coaching by us, plus our epic foundations prep program and revolutionary structural balance blueprint to create your ideal body and optimize your performance. As a valued listener, you can use the link in the description to get your first month free. Now, before we get started, a warm welcome if you're on the live stream in the UMS Movement Mastermind Facebook group. Leave a comment and we'll send you some love. Remember that anyone can join and interact with us in that Facebook group. And lastly, shout out to our YouTube athletes catching the replay. Hit the like button to support the channel and subscribe if you like what you see. How are you today, Phil?
Very well. It's good to be back.
Good to be back. You were on a holiday, weren't you?
Yeah, I was away for a little while, feeling very refreshed and just happy to be back in front of the mic.
Yeah.
It's good. Although we do have a jackhammer going outside the studio currently, so apologies if there is any unpleasant sounds. And that's why we went on yesterday, because it was too much.
It's just started up again, hasn't it? I just heard it. Yeah, sorry guys, we weren't on yesterday, but man, it was full on. Actually, I can't hear the jackhammer now. I can just hear the diesel motor of whatever's being powered out there. But it when there's a jackhammer on the footpath near you, it actually sounds like they're doing it through the wall, doesn't it?
Oh, like
there
that.
It is.
Yeah.
There it is. You can't even tell where it's coming from. It sounds like it's just coming from all around you. So if you can hear that, we do apologize. Anyway, look, today's show, we always have a talk about how can we add value to people when we do these shows. And something that's come up recently several times in our UMS online coaching group is we have this amazing assessment process where we assess for structural imbalances from left and right side, from pushing and pulling movements, from strength and flexibility, all the different major areas in the body, so that we can then identify people's imbalances and teach them how to create custom programs that overcome the imbalances, which is a phenomenally powerful process, especially if you consider that it's through, group online coaching that we do that. But we've been getting asked by several people now, with this lockdown around the world, they can't get to the gyms and they're saying, I can't get the assessments done because of X, Y, and Z. Can I substitute the movement for this or that? And I thought that it would be a really good opportunity now with Phil on the show here that we could talk about, the value of the assessment process that we use, but also the way that you can still achieve absolutely amazing results without doing any assessments at all. And the reason why that is because of the grassroots of what the UMS is. The way that we've created a program that balances strength and flexibility and balances pushing and pulling movements, agonist and antagonist, upper and lower body. So that if you're doing some version of the UMS and you're not doing a progression of the exercise that's beyond your capability, then you're going to be training the body in a balanced way, aren't you, Phil?
Yeah, and I think when it comes to assessments, people can really get lost in the weeds, and you can really get that paralysis by analysis. And a lot of the time, just doing a good balanced program will get you, 95% of the way there. And particularly when it comes to your training age, like when you're first starting, there's a lot of variability between, maybe each time you do an exercise, because your technique's maybe not entirely dialed in, and you're just learning the differences between, say, different types of squats, or you're doing different grips on your bench press for the first time. There's going to be a lot of variability between how you do each movement. So when it comes to assessment, like it doesn't really give you really good information. So it's that idea of signal versus noise. And just like the jackhammers outside, a lot of the time you're just getting a lot of noise, not signal that you can really do something with. So when it comes to assessments, they're so useful and really like a definitely important part of the UMS program if you can do it. But at the same time, you can still get a whole lot of the way there. And even when you're quite advanced, as we're going to talk about it in a bit, sometimes it's not essential to getting great progress.
No, not at all. I mean, truth be told, Richard, Yanni, Phil and I, we very rarely do the assessment process that we've done here because for us, we are so consistent with our training and we're obviously coaches ourselves, so we understand how to do things and how to write programs. And the UMS, the beauty of it is that a program split itself is something that if you don't have one yet, it's quite a headache to come up with. Like when we used to write custom programs for the individual based on their needs, it's a real headache, like asking people what their goals are, how many days a week can they train, where have they got issues in their body, and you really have to think so hard. And we ended up looking at what the majority of people need if they just want general performance, if they want to be able to go out and do what they want, and created a program split that works really well for that.
I think it was the case. I mean, I definitely found it, with my sort of work as a physio, and I remember you talking about as a personal trainer, you can go and you get all this information, you do all these fancy assessments, and you get I remember Yanni and his the extreme lengths he'd go to, and you get up all the information. You're like, okay, what do they need? Basically, a well structurally balanced program.
That's right.
It can be sometimes a bit of like, a distraction and making yourself sound intelligent and feel smart by going really deep into finding really specific, little things here and there. But at the end of the day, if you've got a good balanced program and you're, then you're going to get a lot of the way there. And then it can get a bit more funky once you've got specific goals around athletic performance or certain activities you want to do where you're going to train towards, certain dates where you have to be at peak performance. But at the end of the day, for most people starting out in the gym, a well-balanced program that they can understand and they can do well is going to be so
and that's exactly why for the foundations phase of the UMS, which is 3 phases, 3 program phases, we don't do assessments on that because it just gives information that is useless at that stage of a person's journey. And the most important thing is just to train without overthinking it and trust the process and do it. The point does come where assessment becomes very valuable, where if you do it properly and you don't get really caught up and bogged down in the details, and this is the beauty of the UMS assessment process, because the program split that I was talking about before is rock solid. And what that means is program split is Monday, Thursday, bend time strength, doing upper body movements like bench pressing, pull-ups, shoulder pressing, anything when the elbows bend. Tuesday, Friday is our lower body days, so squats on Tuesdays, deadlifts on Fridays. And then Wednesdays is our athletic development day, where people either choose calisthenics skills or glute and adductor work to increase athletic performance. And then we have a 6th day on Saturday for the high achievers. But that split stays the same. And what happens is when we get the assessment results, all that it does is it tells us which bent arm strength movements we should be working on, which squat variations we should be working on, which deadlift variations we should be working on, so on and so forth. So it becomes really, really easy to create this program. But this is what today's show's about. What do you do if you can't do that? What do you do if you can't get that assessment? What do you do if you're not a member of the UMS online coaching group and you can't get assessed but you want to do your program? Well, balance between pushing and pulling and upper and lower body is, in my opinion, the most important thing. It doesn't matter what you want. Like there's these classic examples of the people that think that they need more of something, and they I'm talking about guys here usually in the gym where they think they need to build their arms up more or their chest or whatever. But you look at them from a distance and you think, man, you're so out of whack with your upper and lower body. Why are you focusing on your chest more or your shoulders more? What do you think, Phil?
I mean, unless you're an Olympic gymnast doing that thing where they have those teeny tiny little legs, it makes sense in that sport. But so often people do really want to double down on things, and that ends up becoming detrimental. Where, and I know it's happened with some of the even advanced members in the UMS, where they're like, I felt like I was lacking this, so I did more and more and more of it. When really, I've used this example before with our mate Sebastian Oreb, who has got a massive bench press, and he teaches a lot of people, the strongest guys in the world, to get a stronger bench press. And what he'll often do is work on their pulling strength and their external rotation strength, because when it comes to muscular systems, and the body is one big system that has to have all of the different parts of that system working well to perform at its best. And often doing more of the same thing is, kind of like bashing your head against a brick wall. Like, you're not going to get through it. What you've got to do is build up the whole system to work well. And when it comes to athletic development and performance and building in resiliency in your body, that's got to come from, that right balance in your training, which is then also going to give you good movement variability that will keep you ready for anything. So.
And if you, look, we do talk about, like, if you're a runner or if you're this or if you're that, you can do X, Y, and Z. But we'll stick to what we do best, which is to make people strong, flexible, and fit. And so we'll focus on that, those areas. What you really need to be doing, if you can't assess yourself, is don't think, I'm really unflexible, so I need to just do stretching and I'm going to stop strength training. What you need to do is continue your strength training, but add in as much flexibility training as you do strength. That might mean that if you've only got an hour a day, you might have to cut back to only doing 30 minutes of strength training and 30 minutes of flexibility training. But then we would recommend you still at least do 1 or 2 days of some cardio training in each week. Now, we've got a really good way of putting all that together, but that's a big conversation to describe how it all happens. Then another thing you need to look at is within your strength training session, are you doing opposing muscle groups at a 1-to-1 ratio? Is that something that you're thinking of? So a good example is what you were saying before. For a bench press, you need to be doing a 1-to-1 ratio for rowing, for pulling, as in 1 rep for 1 rep, generally speaking. Same with upper and lower body. You don't want to be saying, I've already got strong legs, I'm just going to do 4 upper body days a week and 1 lower body day. Maybe you could do that for 6 weeks if you really were in balance, but you wouldn't want to be doing it for too long, would you? I've run into major imbalances from thinking that I could overcome imbalances by just focusing on the one thing, and then that just created another problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is, so it's human nature to really want to identify one magical silver bullet that if you just do more of, and that will be the answer to everything. But it's just that will just leave everything else going left wanting. So
and you don't need to be assessed to do what we're describing here. This doesn't require assessment. To be able to write yourself a good balanced program it doesn't require assessment. And if you want to know how we do it, you can very easily see by joining the 1 month free trial of the UMS online coaching program. You'll get access to everything and you can look at it. You can see how and I think that's going to be a far easier solution for you than us trying to explain it on a podcast. Just jump in and have a look at it yourself.
Yeah, and you might see some, on Tuesdays we pair our squat with a calf raise, because we've noticed that, that's one thing that doesn't get trained specifically if you're doing that, and obviously really important for athlete development. And then the one that sometimes catches people up is on the Friday doing the external rotation, and people are a bit doesn't sort of doesn't match with a deadlift, which is such a big intense movement. But there's a lot of thought that's gone into this program, and when you do train your pecs and your lats, they're really strong muscles that are both in pushing and pulling, and so you might think that just doing horizontal push and pull will keep your balance, your shoulders balanced, but the pec major and the lat dorsi both are internal rotators of the shoulder. So the reason the external rotation is got that fundamental movement pattern slot on the Friday is because we've put a lot of thought into the program, and basically we're matching that internal rotation and external rotation forces. So that I just wanted to point that little bit out as a piece of detail that people might sort of overlook and think it's simple, you just got to do this and that. But I think that advice of having a look at how we're doing it is worthwhile, because there are lots of little things in there that you may sort of not realize if you're not experienced.
Yeah, for sure. And there's different ways to pair exercises together, and for different reasons. The way that we pair exercises together is that we'll pair one exercise with another exercise where each of them do very little, if any, work at all when the other one is being worked. So the idea with the muscles that are involved with doing a bench press, there's very few of them that are involved that create the actual movement of a row or vice versa. So when you look at a deadlift, there's not a lot that you can actually pair with a deadlift, because a deadlift uses so many different muscle systems right through the body, right from the feet up to the hands. We chose the external rotator because I think it's a really good way to get that in and allow it. So it's a good point that you made there, Phil. Look, this is just to wrap all this up. The big reason why I wanted to do this show today is again, it's just to try and remove some of this paralysis by analysis that some people are getting without even doing testing week. Some people are getting paralyzed with analyzing what they can do if they can't do testing week. Like, how do I go about it? And part of our job with the UMS is to really just simplify, and try to get people to understand that it doesn't need to be as complicated as what you think it does. And the only way to get to a level similar to where we are with training is to just do it for a really long time. And we all made a lot of mistakes with our own training to get where it is. So if you're in the UMS online coaching group listening to this, you're already a lot further along your journey than we were when we were starting out our journey, because we didn't have guidance from people like us. We were all kind of trying to figure out who it was we wanted to follow and who should we take advice for. And if you just go through the motions, don't worry if you can't do one aspect of the program, just do the things that you can do. And the results, the great change in your body that we're all looking for will happen over time. It's like Michelangelo chiseling away that
Goliath
statue.
chiseling away.
Is it, or is yeah, that's right. Is it Michelangelo that did David? Anyway, I'm obviously not very versed on my artists and Greek statues. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Phil, have you got any final thoughts for today?
Nope.
It's
nice to be back.
Nice to be back. And we will see you all in 1 minute in the UMS online coaching group.
I do have one thought, which is that if you are watching live, do say hi. Tell us who you are, where you're watching from, and ask questions. Like, you have people here. If you're watching live, you have
you've got an amazing opportunity for your questions to be answered.
Yeah. So do it next time.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that far.
It's the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.